I would write something about being, 52 or 53 and looking like this, and people would comment with, well, big fucking deal, J-Lo is a lot better looking than you, and she's only like 2 years younger. When I thought about it, all the actresses and singers and personalities around my age all looked better than me, and they all looked younger than me because they've had some work done. So I went on the internet and I went, okay, I want to see pictures of a real 55-year-old. There was nobody there. It was a big empty hole. It wasn't until you got to Betty White where old people got to be cool again. Between J-Lo and Betty White is me. We're kind of falling into the hole of being invisible between those two women, and I'm not okay with that.
So can you talk a little bit about how you're feeling right now?
I'm sitting here preparing to bear all, and it feels lovely that I have this coincidence between this sort of more hopeful feeling and digging in to where I have been.
Can you talk a little bit about what your style says about you?
Clothes to me are work. When I was 15, I started modeling in Paris, and it was supposed to just be a summer job initially. And then it sort of turned into, by August, I was making more money in a week than my parents combined in 6 months. And it was a very hard thing to walk away from. Being a model, you rent your body out as a blank canvas. And then you get poked and prodded and pushed around and shoved. We're one-dimensional creatures. You don't often see us in real life. You see us on flat photos. You really are an object. You are an apple in a still life. They just want you to shut up, be on the set, and do your job. I guess I'm so used to pleasing and always being what you want me to be, but that's what you're supposed to be.
What are assumptions that people make about you based on your appearance?
When I meet people who know my career, who are my age, and they know who I am, they will have one or the other image of me. Either I'm the hot babe in Sports Illustrated or the ice queen in Estee Lauder. Honestly, I was neither. I was exactly what I am now, basically a slightly goofy nerd. I would say at around the age of 45, I started noticing that the way I was perceived was slightly different than what I had become used to. And then I would put photos of myself in bikinis. All of a sudden, I started getting the influx of, are you a little desperate there, Grandma? How about you cover up and spare us the look of your poor aging body? I was sort of getting relinquished to the invisible women category. It dawned on me that when you walk down the street, when you're a younger woman, it's like every man passes you and goes, is she fuckable? Now you can most definitely walk down the street without having anybody bounce anything off of you. Like people will literally just walk into you. And you think, hold on a second. I am actually a far more interesting person than I've ever been. And this is where you don't want to see me anymore because I've aged out of being physically appealing to you.
So what would you say has been your biggest struggle?
I had gone through my childhood being extremely seen, but absolutely unheard. It's been sort of the bane of my existence. When I was 3 years old, my parents left me. They left the political system, communism in the Czech Republic. They started using public opinion to help their cause. Got a lot of Swedish people to sign on the cause of reuniting my parents with little Paulina. And it got the attention of the media, of the press, of TV. The Swedes would send out journalists to the Czech Republic and make me take pictures. I have no idea why there were photographers there, why they couldn't speak Czech, why I had to hold my teddy bear and pretend like I was crying. It's like, the only way to get rid of them is by obliging. Turns out that my follow-up career of taking photos, where I would walk past the newsstand and there would be 4 covers of me simultaneously, and I felt like at my very most seen, I'm the very least heard.
Can you talk a little bit about menopause, just the different things that you're experiencing, I'm assuming?
I was going through this sort of transformative things of menopause, of these shifting hormones. That door is shutting on me. And then the door of my marriage and my husband completely shut. To me, my menopause is tied into the grief over my husband. And I can't separate what made me feel how. I loved my husband for 35 years, the last 3 of which we were separated. We were there for each other in those kind of physical ways that we had become habituated to. It's just no longer was a marriage. We had been together for my entire life since I was 19, and suddenly he seemed not to find me attractive anymore. I started feeling like I was a coffee table, something you put shit on and bump into in the middle of the night, but pay no more attention to than that. It made me feel worthless as a woman. I thought I was going to stay with this man for the rest of my life. We had said in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. But then it was neither. It was nor better nor worse. He just stopped seeing me. He never actually heard me.
What do you mean by he never heard you?
Well, for that I would have to go back to the beginning of my marriage, in which my husband always saw me. And it made me feel so loved because my parents never saw me. And so I finally found somebody who could see me, did see me, and wanted me. And that solved my problems for like ever. And then you start growing up. And I realized that I wanted my partner, my husband, to listen to me so that he could see that I'm no longer just the hot model that he had married, but there was, other things about me that I thought were valuable.
Like what?
Pretty much everything else but my looks, honestly. I had thought I was boring for 30 years because my husband made me feel boring, because whenever I would speak, he would just yawn and look around and completely dismiss me. I sort of went with that for a while till I could no longer take it. I started changing the rules on what our marriage was supposed to be. And then he started changing his rules too. Oh, well, if you're gonna be demanding and a bitch, well, then I'm not gonna touch you. And I thought, one brilliant last idea. What if I give him the ultimatum before I'm finished? When I still love him, when I still want to make this work, that might snap him out of it. I said, I'm really unhappy and you don't seem to want to work on anything. And so I think maybe we should be heading towards separation, maybe divorce. He just looked at me really coldly and said, well, seems like your mind's made up, so whatever. And that was it. I really, really couldn't believe it. That was it. That was all the fight he was going to put up for me.
How did you respond?
Like this. Started bawling, ran off. It didn't feel like there was anything else I could do. And that left me with some serious questions of my value as a woman. So there was my husband who died, and then I fell in love very much with somebody else. And he left me. This was 2 men, the only 2 men I had been with in 37 years, that both thought that I was not worthy to stay for. So that's something that I still battle with. Am I worthy of love? It seems not. The available pool of men that are interested in a 50, 60-year-old woman is a muddy puddle. The ones that are out on the market now are on the market for a reason. And the fact that they would really rather date a woman 20 years younger, not that many guys that are smart enough and brave enough to date women their age. We have so many more demands because we know who we are. So I'm trying to cobble together, assemble a new me who won't give a fuck.
When was the last time you cried?
2 years ago, I would say I cried every single day. It was more about the times I didn't cry, which were like maybe 30 minutes in between breakfast and lunch. And then, it was like I just cried the entire time.
What started it?
My husband's death. I found my husband. I was bringing him a coffee and I found him dead. So there's the grief of losing this person that was in your life your entire life. And then there's also the shock. The interesting thing about grief is how it isolates you. You have been locked in a room, you don't know where the door is, and then you have people on the other side of the wall of that room that are going, come on, you can find the door, come on, you can do it, we're waiting for you, we're cheering you on. But you just, for a long time, you can't even move to consider that there's a door. I feel like somebody just peeled my skin off, like this process of grieving and heartbreak and betrayal. It stripped me of my Paulina skin, the one that I used to know, the one that used to protect me. I don't have anything that protects me anymore. Things hurt much more, but I can also feel the joy much more. I can feel everything. Every breath of wind and every sliver of sunshine and every little cool shadow of the night. I just feel. And sometimes it's too much, and sometimes I have to just withdraw and cry and shut myself out a little bit, but sometimes I can just walk down the street and have this joy and gratitude of just being alive. Maybe that's why you get flayed alive, because life is really quite astonishing and beautiful. And I feel it all. For my whole life, I always pushed how I felt away. Everybody's feelings were more important than mine. And now I'm in a space where they can't be more important than mine, because mine won't let me. They won't allow me to feel somebody else's pain unless I acknowledge my own. So I've gotten sort of better at just, okay, fine, you know what? You want to cry all day? Go ahead. So I'm laying in bed, sobbing and crying. I started going, I wonder if I could tape this. I wonder if I could actually put this on video. And I thought, God, I would love it if a person who's not known for their crying cried. It would allow me to feel that it was okay to cry. So then I thought, well, I'm either an idiot or very brave for posting the crying video to Instagram. I was in a restaurant with some friends celebrating, and I walked to the bathroom, and then I walked back, and there's this attractive young girl, slightly drunk, at the bar. She goes, wait, hold on, I know you. You're the crying lady on Instagram. And so I just stood there and let her tell me what she wanted to tell me, which was, thank you so much for being real, because thanks to you, I now feel like I dare to show people I'm not perfect either. I've never been heard as well as in that moment.
What's your biggest fear?
Abandonment is my biggest fear. My parents never told me why they didn't find me worthy of keeping. My husband never told me why he didn't find me worthy of keeping. Besides, if you weren't such a bitch, I'm not allowed to have needs as a wife. I wasn't allowed to have needs as a model. And now I'm not allowed to have needs as a woman of a certain age. My needs have never been acknowledged, really.
Probably even by yourself, right?
Most of all by myself. Yeah. Shit. And I don't know how to have needs and not scare people off. I don't know how to balance that yet.
And how do you feel about wrinkles and face and all of that?
I was having dinner with a famous fashion photographer. He was speaking to me and I was like, listening to him. And he looks at me and after a while goes, stop that. And I went, what? Stop what? What am I doing? And he goes, weird things with your face. And I'm like, weird things with my face? That. And I went, oh, frowning? You don't want me to frown? And it dawned on me that he hadn't seen a woman my age frown for a really long time. And it was upsetting to him. I understand what it takes to make my skin wrinkle-free, and I don't think it's worth it. Being able to express how I feel to me is one of the most wonderful things about my face. I'm like, isn't that why it was made? I'm trying to go, how about this? How about this unaltered, even beautiful? How about that?
Why in your body, in your skin, in your journey? Why is it a good place to be?
There's been so much grief and sorrow and pain. So much has been contained by this body. I feel like it needs to be aired out a little bit. I think I need to wash it with some soap inside, and then I need to like stick it out on a windowsill and like let the air flow through it, and then I'll reclaim it. But right now it's like, oh, the insides are like, it's tar. As much as I embrace this body and as much as I'm proud of who I am, I'm also broken. And I'm assembling myself, so it's not the greatest place to be yet. It will be though. It'll be pretty freaking awesome.
I love that. I love the size of your smile as you're saying it. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel like I took a really deep dive into me, and this is the kind of shit I think about all the time, but nobody listens to me and nobody asks me questions, so this was really rewarding.
I'm so glad you feel that way.
I do.
Thank you to our partner Bonafide for standing with us in our pursuit to destigmatize menopause and defy ageism taboos.
When I was going through menopause about 10 years ago, I felt very overwhelmed with having nowhere to turn in terms of understanding what was happening to me, how to deal with the symptoms. And I really wish that there was a company like Bonafide making organic and natural products that would have helped me in so many ways that I didn't have at that time. All Bonafide products are scientifically validated and recommended by over 8,000 doctors across the country.
And they offer hormone-free relief from menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats, and vaginal dryness. Save up to $30 a month when you bundle 2 or more of your favorite Bonafide products together and opt for a bundle subscription.
Bonafide wants you to find relief from menopausal symptoms so that you don't have to suffer through it like so many people have.
If you're interested in a naturally derived but effective solution to menopause, try 20% off your first subscription with code StyleLikeU today.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode with Paulina Porizkova.
For more episodes or interviews like this, subscribe to StyleLikeU.
And don't forget to click the bell so you're notified when we drop a new episode on Thursdays. Okay, and then we just blow a kiss.